Sophie McKibben came here extremely shy. Anytime she spoke, she turned beet red. Her face flushed. She was so excited about everything.
I think that Sophie is blessed with an awe for the natural world.
Sophie was very genuine, like a very special girl that really put forth a tremendous effort to gather the community together, to make this project work.
Sophie went to the North Branch School, which is here in Ripton, and at that school, one day they were asked to put together a bunch of Cheerios on a table and make it into a picture, and the picture had to all connect. And the teacher, Tal Birdsey, counted out the number of Cheerios. And at the end of this, they had made this beautiful picture of Cheerios on the table.
And so I said, what do y'all think this means? And they said, well, it shows how creative we are, how we can link ourselves to each other, how we feel about art and peace and whatever. And I said, the Cheerios that you have here, here's what they are, because there's 2,850. They are the number of American soldiers who died in that war in Iraq. And eventually, through conversations with Sophie and her other classmates, we came on this idea of putting these poles up, and each stripe representing one of the soldiers. And we wanted it to be visible as possible.
And that created, oddly enough, a certain amount of friction among certain people in the kind of community at large, not in Ripton itself, but outside of Ripton, people saying to the kids, well, you're not really honoring those people, you know, that this is political. And Sophie ended up being kind of the spokesperson for her school and saying, no, absolutely not, this is not true. And I think what happened in that whole kind of evolution of that project was that she started to think really long and hard about why it was that people were having such a hard time coming to terms with the soldiers and their families. And she felt like there was a lot of hostility and sort of misinterpretation. One day she said, I think what I want to do is to do something for veterans and maybe something for the families as well of people, active duty soldiers.
When we're overseas, soldiers, especially in combat, there's a lot of dark humor that goes on with dealing with things in the moment, with what's happening right now and how we're dealing with things. It's the discussions about home and what things are going to be like that are often difficult because nobody knows what it's going to be like. I think personally for myself, I was very nervous about what life was going to be like coming from a situation that was horrific at times, to come home to normal life again.
She said, I just feel that the families are going through so much and I'd like to do something. So I thought, oh, that's nice. Maybe she'll make, you know, write letters or something like that. But what she had in mind was to invite 6 local families to Ripton, Vermont, which is where she's from, for a weekend of fun and relaxation where they could just relax and have a good time.
I had known somehow that she was a 15, 16-year-old girl, and I thought, well, you know, this will be great. You know, she wants to run this program, but I had absolutely no idea of what her plans were. So when she started talking, I'm thinking in the back of my mind, okay, yeah, 16 years old, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
She would say things to us like, well, I'm going to ask people in town to be host families. And we would say things like, okay, you know, you're going to ask people in town to take in people they don't know. And she said, yeah, you know, and like families. And I was like, okay, you know, go for it. And she did. And they said yes, which was kind of amazing. And then she had this idea that what she really wanted to do was have a community-wide potluck supper. And we were thinking, okay, you know, maybe you should have a committee and delegate. And she said, no, you know, I think I know how to do this. And she just did. And, you know, 200 people showed up. It was an amazing event.
We had a kind of a potluck that we came to, and that first night when we showed up. And I was a little nervous going in there, but right away, I mean, you sit down, it was that typical New England setting where it's just the whole community is there, from You know, everybody. I mean, everybody is there, and just shaking your hand and welcoming you. And there's music, live music, and dancing, and kids running around. And it was that feeling of like this weight was lifted. It felt so nice to be home in New England, and safe, comfortable, and not feeling like you were on display, but being kind of welcomed back into the community. It's difficult, but really, I mean, people like Sophie, you know, when we're overseas, those things, you know, we think about why we're there and what we do. And people like that, you know, in addition to our personal lives, our families, it's people like that in the country that they care. That really, it's why we go. And coming home to people like that, it helps heal some of the wounds.
I think Sophie is a pretty remarkable young woman. I think that the things that she has done, both in terms of experiences that she shared with her family, but also things that she's taken on, like Snowjourn or the bicycle ride to raise money for the adaptive ski equipment. Just remarkable.
Bookworm she started when she was 11, and it's a quarterly magazine by kids, for kids, literary magazine. She has, subscribers in 28 states or something the last time she told me, and it's, it's run merrily along for 6 or 7 years.
This past summer, I know, was divided. A portion of it was spent as a page in Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., and the other half was spent working as a hut girl at a hut in the Adirondack Mountains.
She's currently going to school in Norway. If you ask her what she's doing on any given day, she might say, oh, I'm working with refugees, or I'm teaching swimming to the disabled.
And she's funny, and she's excited, and when she comes around the corner, she just kind of brightens it up. It's, you know, she's got enthusiasm that just seems to keep welling up, and she has a ton of energy.
I remember in bridge school, it was here actually, we started a club called Girls Inc. And we had lots of people, and we came here and we had club meetings. And I'm not sure what we did exactly besides played games and jumped around and stuff. And she's just hilarious. When she starts to laugh, she cries. So she's like tearing up, and it was great.
Sophie is very accident prone. She trips and falls a lot. When we cross-train for Nordic skiing, Sophie, we roller ski, and Sophie's always the one who falls down and gets cut and scraped.
First day at sleepaway camp, she sent home a letter. And she was 8 or something. I think they made them write letters home. And
that day, the very first day.
Dear Mom and Dad, I miss you. Not. It said it.
Sophie was wearing mud boots, big rubber boots, and walked right into this mud puddle, and immediately became stuck. And of course, before I could fully get to her, she was in the puddle, covered in mud, laughing, and she proceeded to put on an act of a queen, walking through the swamp, going through mud puddles and stepping over brooks, and walking across beaver dams. And she kept this act up the entire way back. And it was probably one of the most fun days I've ever had.
I mean, I think probably the best Sophie stories are the ones, for me anyway, when she comes off like the ski course, having had a terrible race, fallen 3 or 4 times, and you know, maybe she's bruised or she's been hit with a pole or something, and yet she still has a smile on her face. And I mean, that's really who she is. She's just always smiling no matter what.
Sophie is one of a very small handful of students who sees a need that isn't being met and thinks of a way to address it.
The odd thing of watching someone grow up and just turn into a really nice soul is great fun. And one is immediately struck by how little one's had to do with it all in the course of things. Except that I did insist that she become a cross-country skier at a very early age. That did stick.
Sophie, you know that I've talked to you about this before, that when you get to be president, you know, I want to sit there and say, I know that girl, and I'm not surprised that you're there at all.
Hi, Sophie. Congratulations on winning your award. And I just want to thank you so much for all the work you did to make Snowjourn a wonderful success for all the families of the Vermont National Guard. They are truly appreciative of it, and they really enjoyed being there.
Congratulations, Sophie. This is so great. I'm so excited that you've gotten this award. It's obviously very well deserved, and we couldn't be happier.
Sophie, congratulations on winning this award. It's a really great achievement. I'm really proud of you. We really miss you here. It would be great to see you whenever you can get back to town to come see us, and I'm really glad that you're off doing incredible things and saving the world, which we know that if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be you.
Sophie, we were lucky to have you at the school, and many of the things that you did here are still happening. Your name is still bantered about as one of the heroes of the North Branch School, and I think that should make you feel pretty proud.
Hi, Sophie. Kibble, how are you doing? Hope you're having a lovely time in Norway. Lots of Norwegian skiers. And I miss you, and I miss you, I miss you, I miss you, I miss you, and you need to come back. Congratulations. I love you.
Well, Sophie, I guess I want to say congratulations. You're amazing, and I'm sure you're having a fabulous time, and you definitely deserve this.
Well, Sophie, I know that you're pretty red-faced right about now, and that alone would be worth the price of admission for me to see. I want to just say thank you for being a dear friend, and congratulations to you on this high night.
I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for the community, for the state of Vermont, for the soldiers and their families returning home. It makes coming home so much nicer. Thank you.
It's very hard to say just how proud I am of you all the time. Being kind to other people seems like the most important of all human accomplishments, and figuring out how to be kind in a sort of organized way that really makes it matter and makes it spread is an awfully good thing, and it's been awfully good fun to watch you figure it out.
We've been through a lot together, driving around Salisbury over and over and over again when we figured out that we actually laid the path wrong for the bike riders. But it was really fun. It was fun hammering in all of those signs while you were telling me what to do. I feel like I'm your sous chef, and it's great, and I love you.
And make sure your skis are in good working order and well waxed. Winter draws near.